Hello everyone, I'm making a little video here to kind of follow up on Direwolf's automatic bee farming that he showed in one of his more recent episodes. Gave me a kind of a good idea that maybe improve upon it and go a little further with it. So right here we have set up a, what is it, 3x6, 3x7, so 21 apiary bee farm. And other than this turtle here and that turtle there, there's no pipes underneath, nothing really hooked up to it. Can I show you the general setup here and how this works? So underneath it's basically cleared out. There is a hole up to each apiary all the way through. We have some battery boxes, and apparently 2 little battery boxes. Weird. And other things required for power. Let's see here. So the basic setup is kind of like this. Basically there is a turtle running a specific program, and it goes off every 30 seconds, so it should start going here. Beside it is a analyzer that has a liquid supplier pipe from our logistics network to keep it full of honey. Underneath it is a turtle that basically has a scoring using a fitness function for all the drones it knows about. There you go, you can see the turtle going off and doing its thing. And all the drones it knows about are in the chest underneath it. And you can kind of see the final results of the genetic algorithm. They're all pretty much imperial drones, fast workers, long life, mostly focusing on getting these things making me drooping combs so that I can provide the honey I need for the next set of apiaries I'm going to be making, which is just cultivated ones to get honeycombs and wax. So basically this thing is the component of the system that scores all the bees. This block here is from the miscellaneous peripherals add-on, specifically it's the bee analyzer, so we can get some data into computer craft about each bee. And this chest here is just a output chest to a void pipe for all of our discarded bees when we have extras. And you can see the analyzer or the turtle going off here. And this turtle is a bee wrangler. Essentially what it does is it looks at the top slot of each of these apiaries, and then if it's empty, it goes down to these wooden blocks, which are here to keep the flowers from growing on them, and pulls them out. So none of these are really kind of ready to go yet. I just had to refill them, but that's okay. So basically, the other kind of component to this is these turtles are analyzer turtles or analytic turtles. They have a peripheral on them that you can basically use to investigate chests. So this guy can look at the chest underneath him. He can get the block IDs of each item, and he can basically take items in and out, which is the guts of how this all works. So just to go over some of the Lua script for those that might be interested, and I can post the source code for anyone interested in Pastebin later. But let's see here. Basically, 3 major components. The first component is kind of a configuration file. So we have a basic scoring table. This is really similar to the one that Direwolf had going. Went a little further with it. Each one of these functions is basically a scoring fitness function. In this case, we're saying for the species primary, go look in that table up there, and then add that to the score. For the species secondary, just do the same thing as the primary. If we look at the speed, we're actually taking the speed and multiplying it by speed plus 1. So making speed kind of important. The lifespan score, we just add it, and If fertility is more than 2, which means that it's going to be more than 2 drones, then we subtract a bunch of score from it, because we don't want to have 3 or 4 drones just because it uses a bunch of honey. And nocturnal is pretty desirable, so we add 50 of that, just so that all our bees can run at night. The other thing you can do is you can set which flowers are acceptable, and basically the system will just discard all bees that don't do flowers or whatever's in this table. These last 3 huge tables are essentially the locations of each apiary, triplicate. So, the first apiary, the top of it is this location, and so we're saying basically go to Y position first, and then go to X position, and then go to Z position, and then face north, and start at this height when you move. So, if you had like these things in a valley, maybe your starting height would be like 86, and then it would go higher up, and then when it gets to the Z position, it would go down at that point. The ordering of this coordinates with the movement API that I have here, which I can go over later, basically does it in order. It's kind of a mapping, so it's like do Y this, then do X, then do Z, rather than trying to like decide which way is the safest way. So essentially, these are the first row of 7, and then the second row of 7, and the third row of 7. Not too much to see there. This is where the wrangler will skim along looking for bees, for empty queen slots or princess slots. The drone locations is essentially underneath it, and so we're saying start at height 79, and then go up to 80. So the blocks are actually at 81 essentially, and then the item locations is those wooden blocks above them, to where it's basically abstracts the items. And the last 4 things here are basically this is the starting Z height when we're going to empty. So like I said, if you had this in a valley, you would put this higher. And this is the Z height of where the geneticist, the fitness function turtle is. And this is where you go to unload. And this is how to get down to where you need to fill up the drones. So let's see what my bee is doing here. So as you can see, it's nighttime here. I have kind of a nice screenshot looking at this. These nocturnal bees going off in the nighttime. When I first set this up, I didn't have any nocturnal bees, and I just introduced it with a couple of valiant nocturnal bees I found, and edited the fitness function. It took about 3 or 4 hours, and then my entire set of apiaries were all nocturnal, which is pretty sweet. So, if you look here, obviously with the Imperial ones, I want Imperial drones. I made them all fast worker, long lives. They weren't originally like this, obviously. It just took some time from the breed using this fitness function. So, essentially the bee wrangler is this piece here. Looks like a lot of code, but it's pretty straightforward. There's a couple APIs that I've written to deal with, moving turtles around and other string split function and stuff. But there's a block analyzer is the computer analyzer peripheral that's in the CC or the computer craft forums, which is what we're using to basically, see if we have drones to give to the analyzer, or if we have items to throw in the chest that hooks up to my logistics system. Visit apiary, pretty straightforward. First go to the starting height and then go to the location. Home is based off of like the movement API. As soon as you start it, if it tries to figure out it's facing its position, and so you can figure out where you are in the world. It does require the computer craft GPS system set up though. Drop item, pretty straightforward. This empty turtle, essentially what it does is it goes to home using the empty safe height, and then drops to where the unload height is. If it's not different, then I don't do anything. Goes through and looks for essentially all the drones. And the other thing is the facing is kind of important here. I should probably put this in the config file, but this is pointing at the analyzer. Anyway, so it basically checks to see what the block ID is using the computer craft analyzer. peripheral, and then with the drone, it drops the item. So drop item here. Like I said, it keeps trying to drop it over and over, and it just sleeps until it works. At that point, it switches to paste the opposite of the analyzer, and drops everything but princesses in there, which then get sorted and turned into honey. This functionality is just to try to figure out if we have all our item slots full. This is the empty apiary function, so basically it finds the apiary that's passed in and looks for stuff, and then sucks it all up. And if it fills up for any reason, then we go and empty and go back. And then once we're finished sucking everything out, we go find the princess and jump up at the princess location and put the princess at the top. So we just keep reusing it. This is the main loop of the bee wrangler. So it grabs a config file. Essentially it's going through here, visiting all the locations, and then when it finishes and empties them and does all that stuff, it checks to see if there's any of these things it needs to restock. If there is, it goes down to the geneticist level, and it actually sends a rednet message to it saying, I need bees. And as soon as we get these bees back, so right here we say geneticist is ready, we say, hey, I need some drones. Geneticist fills us up with all the drones that we need up to a maximum of 16, and says, okay, no problem, and gives them to you. And then what we do is we drop down, visit the drone locations. So we drop down to the safe drone level, visit the drone locations, and then come back up and either get more bees, because this will loop through again, or sleep for 30 seconds and then start the whole process again. So see if we can kind of see some of this stuff now, if these bees have finished up. Yeah, they're getting there. Not quite. Alright, so the final piece is a geneticist. Also kind of let go, not too bad. Set up some stuff, get the configs. Sorting it, basically we're sorting it by score, highest to lowest. This will drop bees. Drop thing is on the left, so it just drops it in the chest, which gets void piped. The scoring function essentially goes here and tries to figure out what type it is, and if it's a drone, it drops it into the analyzer peripheral, which is in front of it, and then it makes sure that it's the right flower, and then runs through these scores. So, I could put this probably down here. It'd probably make more sense because it'll multiply the entire score by the speed. And then if it's, not supported flower, or the bee analyzer didn't work for some reason, it basically nukes this thing. The slow function is basically analyzes the attached chest, gets everything out of it, prints a nice little menu. This processes a drone, so basically it keeps trying to grab from the analyzer above it, and then once it gets it, it sticks it into actually it's down here, it grabs it. And this piece actually just looks at the data and then places it down below. If there's empty room in the chest, otherwise it goes through the scoring of the items it knows it's in the chest and then replaces it with the old one, or it just drops this if it's not good enough. The send bees function is what sends data to the wrangler, and this is basically some rednet message stuff. I was kind of cheesing it out here. I could have made this into a pull event or a coroutine, so when it's moving it would get rednet events faster, but I figure it'll just keep we'll broadcast that it's ready, wait for 5 seconds. If nobody asks for data, then I'll keep going doing this thing. So that's basically how it's all set up. So if we go back to our bees here, none of them really quite done yet, but it's okay. Going to probably get started on setting up the next set of bees in right side here. So maybe while that's doing that, I'll record this and then edit it out later. Okay, here we go. We finally got some bees finished with their duties here. So this wrangler's actually gone through and finished quite a few of them. You see that there's these princesses already in the top slot. Wow, it's almost, so it's right here. So let's finish this one. So right now it's basically unloading all these bees into the analyzer, and it'll keep doing that until it's done. After which all of the royal jelly and honeycombs will go into this chest, which is hooked up with a quick sort module into our system, and that will get it off into the item sinks that require it. And what's happening down here is this guy is basically waiting for this thing to finish. Every time one of these is finished, it detects that there's an item in this slot over here, grabs it, and then compares it to its table. So right now we have 65 total in its table. This is sorted by score because basically I've completely gotten rid of any other variation of drones. They're all the same score. And it just sits there processing these. So obviously I can probably stop using honey and make this just being a chest and update the software for the geneticist to just give out drones. But I can do that later. Anyways, process a new drone, adds it to its table. When it hits 72, which is the size of this silver chest, like I said, it will turn to the left, spit it in here, and then this automatic wood pipe will pull it and throw it into that void pipe. Once this finishes, this is what it looks like. It is done. It empties itself, and then it resumes where it was, which was this emptying this guy right here. So he will actually go down to the wooden panel, suck everything out of that, put the princess on the top, go to the next one that is empty, and again put the princess on the top, and then rinse and repeat for a little while. So while that's doing that, try to get the apiaries going. Alright, looks like this is probably the final bout here, so you can actually see this thing kind of fill up these drones now. Looks like 3 more bees for it to go through, so that's pretty quick. You can see now that this thing is got 72 bees, so the chest is actually full of these bees. It's throwing out what it considers the lowest score, which is basically the one that it's sucking out from here, because you can see right now it'll just turn around and nuke that guy. So, which then goes through the void pipe to be no more. So here's kind of the fun part. Once this last bee goes here, which it should do in a second. There it goes. It'll actually empty everything, and then I'll drop down here and say, hey, I need some bees. And then it's like, no problem, here's all your bees. So these are the best bees that I have according to my table. Obviously they're all the same, but after that it jumps down here and goes through and puts drones in all these things, which then, so no drone comes up. Hey, look, there's a drone. And I go through and do all the ones that I found. Because these are all the same life and speed bees, and actually was changing this stuff around. They're pretty much all ending at the same time, but regardless, this is basically how this works. Once it finishes, apparently this one never finished. So there we go. This one's still going apparently. Interesting. Oh, I'm in the way. So once it runs out of bees, it actually goes and asks for some more bees. And then this guy's like, hey, no problem. There's some more bees for you. And then I'm in the way again. And then I'll go and do the rest of them. So that was 20 of my 21 apiaries just got filled. So this one didn't finish yet, and it is still going. Not sure why, it's kind of weird, but that's be it. And once it finishes all of its restocking the bees, then it kind of goes up here and sits there and waits for 30 seconds again. And in the meantime, this is finishing analyzing all the bees and just throwing them out, so obviously I don't really need to do this part of it anymore, but when I set my other set of apiaries for doing cultivated drones, I will need this, so I'll probably pull this away from there shortly. So that's basically the whole setup that I have here. I'm going to spend some time maybe getting up this other apiary, and might take some more footage if people are interested. If not, then so be it. Thanks for watching.